FrightFest Glasgow is almost here. It will be running on the 6th, 7th and 8th of March, and I'm really excited to be doing some remote coverage for this year's festival. You may know I'm a huge fan of FrightFest. I've gone to the London event the last 3 years, but I've not been up to Glasgow yet. Sadly, I'm not able to go this year, hopefully next, but I am lucky to be able to be reviewing some of the movies this year. So I'm going to tell you a little bit more about the films that are screening, and then in the week or so after they've all aired, I will be giving you my thoughts on each movie. Opening this year's festival is Psyche, directed by Stefan Stewart. It will be playing at Thursday the 6th of March at 8:55 p.m, and it is the Scottish premiere. Trapped in limbo during a near-death experience, Mara and a vintage 1980s computer she finds buried in the sands of time ally to figure out the meaning of life from discarded memories of friends, family and fantasy. Together they navigate through a dystopian world of surreal broken realities, deciphering cryptic clues and puzzles before them, causing Mara to embark on a profound quest of self-discovery and mind-bending redemption. Confronting her deepest fears by facing all the traumas in her life, her journey becomes a poignant exploration of isolation, psychological tension, survival and human vulnerability. Kicking off the second day is House of Ashes by Izzy Lee. How beautiful is this poster? I'm obsessed. It is on Friday the 7th of March at 1 p.m, and this is going to be the international premiere. Imagine being jailed for an everyday occurrence beyond your control, something your body decides for you. In the USA, land of the free, this could happen to you if you have a uterus, depending on where you live. The terrifying rise of treatment of women in the socio-political backdrop for this cautionary tale, where Mia is under house arrest but also must contend with the suspicious death of her husband. There, Mia experiences strange phenomena that could be man-made or supernatural, or both. One thing is clear, Mia is in danger and cannot leave her home. At 3:30 on Friday the 7th of March is the UK premiere of The Last Sacrifice by Rupert Russell. Did you know that the real-life 1945 witchcraft killing of Charles Walton was the terrifying event that inspired the classic shocker The Wicker Man? From filmmaker Rupert Russell comes an incredible documentary looking into the dark heart of Britain and finding a country in a deep and frightening identity crisis, with an almost national descent into madness reflected in the strand of cinema it produces. A brave new exploration of how events within society can become mirrors of times they occur in. This unsettling true crime interrogation probes into the eerie, enigmatic cultural undercurrents that shaped the 1970s folk horror genre. Showing at 6:15 p.m. on Friday the 7th of March is By the Throat, which is directed by David Lee Rees, and this will be a world premiere. Trying to get over a profoundly distressing attack that ended in fatality, Lizzie Roberts agrees to act as a carer cum housekeeper for Alex and Amy Cummings at their remote country home. But with Alex on a business trip and Amy still clearly traumatised by the accidental death of their only child, Lizzie finds her new job not quite as straightforward as she'd hoped. Yet Amy seems to be improving under Lizzie's watchful eye, and normality seems to be returning to the Cummings household until Lizzie starts having nightmares and hallucinations and finds evil outside forces are twisting that normality. Showing at 8:30 p.m. on the Friday is the world premiere of The Doombusters by Jack Lawrence McHenry. It's 1940 and war rages across Europe. Britain prepares for the coming invasion, but the war is a dull affair for Arthur Roundtree, a young man serving in the Home Guard. He dreams of action and adventure, but he remains stuck in a small, sleepy English village miles away from war due to a medical condition. However, when an extraterrestrial creature crashes on the outskirts of the village, a training exercise suddenly turns into a deadly game of cat and mouse. Soon, Arthur and his companions realise they are fighting for their lives and to save the entire galaxy. Closing out the Friday night at 10:45 is the European premiere of In Our Blood by Pedro Cos. Nothing is what it seems when filmmaker Emily Wyland teams up with cinematographer Danny to shoot an intimate documentary about reuniting with Emily's estranged mother. When her mother suddenly goes missing, possibly succumbing to the addictions that first tore her family apart, the duo must piece together increasingly sinister clues to find her before it's too late. Oscar-nominated documentary filmmaker Pedro Cos' feature debut masterfully blends psychological mystery with chilling horror, weaving a twisted tale of reconciling with the ghosts of our past and confronting the complicity we share in creating a world preying on the most vulnerable. On Saturday the 8th of March at 10:45 a.m. is the UK premiere of A Mother's Embrace by Christian Ponce. In 1996, young firefighter Anna and her team were called to an old people's home at risk of flooding during the worst storms ever to hit Rio de Janeiro. As they try to evacuate the elderly, Anna soon finds something sinister lurking beneath the surface, and the residents are not as innocent as they first seem. For the home has been built on the grounds of an ancient temple, the site of a timeless rite to an infernal god, and entangled in their insidious web, she must face her traumatic childhood, complete with a maternal monster. At 1 p.m. on the Saturday is the short film showcase. I love watching shorts, and there's a huge list of really cool sounding shorts. So I'm going to do a separate video, so keep your eyes peeled for that, because I want to share all of them and the information about those too. At 3:20 p.m. is the UK premiere of Hearts of Darkness, The Making of the Final Friday by Michael Felsher, with another really cool poster. In 1993, Jason Voorhees went to hell in one of the most polarising instalments in the Friday the 13th franchise. In this probing documentary, director Adam Marcus, helmer of the FrightFest Presents attraction Secret Santa, takes you behind the scenes for a never-before-seen look at the controversial 9th episode in the iconic series. Insightful interviews with the cast and crew explore the unique landscape of pressures and studio scrutiny surrounding the franchise at the time. The hopping from Paramount Pictures to New Line Cinema paved the way for the eventual Freddy vs. Jason crossover. At 6 p.m. on Saturday the 8th of March is the UK premiere of The American Backyard, directed by Pupi Avati. Pupi Avati, director of the cult shockers The House with Laughing Windows, Zedda and The Arcane Enchanter, returns to his gothic thriller roots with a tale of absolute fear. Based on Avati's 2023 novel and informed by the infamous true crimes of the Monster of Florence, a troubled young man falls in love with an American army nurse during the Italian 1945 liberation. Moving to America, he finds himself living next door to the object of his unrequited affections. Only she has completely vanished, and so begins an incredibly tense investigation into the most terrifying situations surrounding her disappearance. I'm putting myself next to Auntie Lynn. At 8:30 p.m. is the international premiere of Scared to Death by Paul Boyd. Jasper is a young, opportunistic filmmaker yearning to climb the Hollywood ladder. Working as a lowly production assistant, he seizes his chance to be a real director when he suggests to his cantankerous boss that the crew and actors from their upcoming horror film attend an actual seance in an old haunted house for research. They choose an abandoned children's shelter closed for 70 years since the mysterious murders of 5 children in 1942, apparently discovered scared to death. Once the seance begins, the motley crew find themselves trapped and haunted by the children, and something possibly worse. And then closing out this year's FrightFest Glasgow is the world premiere of Rumpelstiltskin by Andy Edwards. A haunting tale of the scariest villain from our collective childhood returns, only darker, bloodier and nastier this time. Once upon a time, Miller attempted to marry his daughter off to the king by promising she could spin straw into gold. With the help of a demonic imp, she completes the task, but the king becomes greedy and wants more. So she promises the imp her firstborn in return for yet more favours. But when it comes time to honour her bargain, dark forces merge when the imp makes a deal with the devil. That's it for the brilliant lineup for this year's FrightFest Glasgow. Stay tuned for my reviews and thoughts on this year's festival.